The Golden State Warriors have rediscovered themselves post-All-Star break, riding a 5-game winning streak and moving to 7-1 since acquiring Jimmy Butler. This game was incredible. A 121-115 win over the Orlando Magic. Steph and Curry, 56 points. Banchero also, I believe, had over 40 points in this game. They were down big at halftime. Curry absolutely lit a fire under himself and the rest of his team. Big defensive stops late. Curry putting up, I think, 35 points in the second half, which is utterly ridiculous. But here's my question to you. How impressed were you with Steph and Curry's performance last night?
Very. How can anyone not be impressed with that? 56 points and a 121-115 win, and they were behind by a lot. They were down by 17 points in the second quarter, halfway through the second, about a quarter of the way through the second quarter last night. He had 12 three-pointers, both season high, the 56 points and the 12 three-pointers, both season highs for him. He had a buzzer beater from beyond half court at the end of the first half. He was 16 of 25 overall, 12 of 19 from 3 points. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He got it going after the Magic had as I said, a 17-point lead midway through the second quarter. Curry had 21 points by the end of the first half, but he was just getting going because he got the 35 points in the second half. That's his 45th career game with at least 9 three-pointers. It's the 9th 50-plus point game since he turned 30 years old, which is pretty impressive.
It's the number one of all time, passing Wilt Chamberlain. He was already past Wilt Chamberlain, but
it was big enough that he kept the game ball and he gave it to his mother. She was at the game, so that's pretty impressive. And you look at we talked about the Jimmy Butler trade last week's show, last Tuesday's show, and there were some comments that I made about that I wanted to revisit here. Let me get those. Yeah, so, they said that Curry really showed his greatness with Butler by his side. Since Butler's arrival, he's taken his game to another level, and last night he took it even beyond that level, reminding everyone why he's still one of the most dominant players in the NBA. Since the trade, and this was before last night's game, 29 points per game, 5.7 assists, 4.2 rebounds, 49.1% overall shooting percentage, 40% from 3, averaging 5 3-pointers a game. Well, last night he had 12 3-pointers. His shooting percentage was lights out, and he had a number of assists and rebounds as well. Before the trade, he was 23, 6, and 4.5. So with Butler, he can play more freely. He's focused on dominating. If he can focus more on dominating offensively, it's exactly what he did last night. And Steve Kerr talking about the trade, he said we needed it. We felt we were kind of treading water. We couldn't get any traction in the season, and Mike Dunleavy sensed it and made the move. And you can feel the shift. Well, last night you saw it in spades. Sometimes you've got to shake things up, and we shook things up. And you look at the points last night. After Curry, 56 points he had, right? The next highest scorer was Post with 18 points. Jimmy Butler only had 5 points last night, 4 rebounds and 7, but he had 7 assists. And you looked at the rebounds with Butler getting 4, Moody had 7, Looney had 7. They had 44 rebounds. They didn't out-rebound the Magic, who had 46. But in terms of assists, the Warriors had 35 assists to the Magic's 23. So
26 assists.
The Magic had 26?
No, the Warriors did.
Oh, I am sorry. I added that up. 26 to 23. The Magic had some players that played well. You mentioned Banchero. He had 41 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And Wayne had 27 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. So they had some players that played well too. But when Curry's playing like that, nobody's going to beat the Warriors.
And that's exactly right. We just witnessed another performance of why Steph Curry can still go out and win an NBA Finals. And that's why it makes sense why Draymond Green said what he said. even though they were hovering around 500 at the time. And he says, well, we can still win a title. And in fact, I think he was talking about this season's title, and last night just proved why. We have to realize that on a team that used to shoot more threes than anybody, who was the team that had the Splash Brothers, who really came onto the scene and changed the way that kids now play basketball by shooting the three much earlier than ever before. Jimmy Butler coming onto the Warriors, he's shooting 7% from three, and it's not affecting them. In fact, Steph Curry and the Warriors have been significantly better on all facets of the game, even with Jimmy Butler coming in and shooting 7% from three. And going up against a Magic team that's the number one defensive team in the NBA when it comes to points allowed, second in defensive rating. And they absolutely, and by the way, I don't think the Magic could play much better. They had based on their entire season, the 8th best three-point percentage this year, the 9th best field goal percentage this year, and also their rebounds were number 13th. They played 61 games. I mean, this team was doing basically everything right. It was just Steph Curry's second half virtuoso was incredible. But speaking about Curry, let's talk about Jimmy Butler's impact. You know, I know it's a small sample size of 8 games, but during the 8-game stretch, pre-Butler and post-Butler Steph Curry's insane. He's averaging 30 points a game post-Butler compared to 22. The rebounds are essentially the same. The assists are 0.7 less since Butler got there. Field goal percentage is up 8 points. Three-point percentage is up 4 points. Offensive rating has skyrocketed, and even Curry's defense has gotten better. That's what's impressive here. But if we're talking about the team as a whole, one thing that they did not do before Butler got there was shoot free throws. They're averaging 5 more free throw attempts since Butler got there. They're shooting the ball as a team more effectively, 2.2 field goal percentage points higher. They're averaging 3 more assists per game. Their offensive rating has increased by 11 points. Their defensive rating has improved by 5 points. Check this out. Even ball movement is getting significantly better. They're averaging 73% of their field goals made or assisted compared to only 70% pre-Butler. So they're getting the ball to their shooters more. They're making their shots. They're playing better defense. Curry's playing better offense. The team is playing better offensively. And this is just working. Right now, the connection's working. And we could talk about what good teams that the Warriors played. We don't make the schedule. We're just analyzing the game for what it is. They absolutely destroyed the Charlotte Hornets, but that's expected. The Hornets are the worst team in the NBA, or at least very close to it. And right now, the only competition that's even close to coming up, the 76ers are toast. They're garbage. Then they play the Hornets again. The real competition coming up is the New York Knicks. And Mitch Robinson's back, so we'll see what the Post does, whether Quinten Post could hold up, Kevon Looney coming off the bench. So we'll see. But really, what we're going to see how the Warriors maybe will do in the playoffs, how well they'll do in the playoffs, is once they hit the game stretch of the Grizzlies, Lakers, Nuggets, Rockets, Suns. That stretch right there is going to prove just how dominant this team could be. And I don't expect them to continue this winning streak through those 4 or 5 games. I don't expect that because that would be like a 15, 16-game winning streak if we continue it here. I don't expect that. Could they lose against the Sacramento Kings? Potentially. Could they lose one of their 2 upcoming games against the New York Knicks? My guess is probably. I don't think they'll beat them at Knicks Tuesday, March 4th, but could they go up against them at home March 15th and the Knicks with Mitch Robinson basically playing how we know Mitch Robinson to be, so the number 1 offensive rebounder in the league and one of the best interior defenders in the NBA? Yeah, maybe they'll lose then. But if Curry puts up 56 points, it doesn't really matter how Butler shoots from beyond the arc. Because, again, he went 0 for 3. He's made 1 3 since he got there, shooting 7% from distance. He shot 1 of 7 in this game, but his impact was, put on by assists. Draymond Green had a double-double in this game.
Yeah.
Since when does Draymond Green put up double-doubles? That's sarcasm for anyone who's not following here. I mean, even Podziemski, he had 7 assists in this game too.
Yeah.
So Curry was absolutely insane in this game. Kevon Looney off the bench, 13 and a half minutes, 7 boards. Quinten Post coming out of the bench, 18 points in this game. I mean, I don't think there was much more the Magic could do. They shot a top 10 game of their season so far. They're the number 1 defensive team. They were up big at halftime. I mean, there was not the Magic couldn't play much better in this game. It's just Curry did what he normally does.
It really wasn't much of a defensive battle. 121 to 115.
Well, that's how the NBA is. You have to switch your mind from 2010s when people were averaging like 90 points a game in those big time games. You have to alter a little bit. I mean, I would say that the biggest people actually benefiting from this are Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski, because we already know that Podziemski was supposed to be this catch and shoot guy, the Klay Thompson 2.0. He's not fully ready for that yet. And Moses Moody's a very nice utility guy. We have to realize that they have their moments. For instance, Podziemski just put up a 21-point game on February 21st against Sacramento. He also had 13 rebounds against Dallas. Moody had 22 points against the Kings, and he made 5 of 8 three-pointers. And since Butler got there, I believe he's averaging 50% from three. So all these other guys, the young guys, they're also being led by another experienced leader in Jimmy Butler. He's playing, he looks happy out there. He looks like he's enjoying himself, which is one of the biggest things. But yeah, Moses Moody, he went from going from 9.2 points per game to 14.8. That's a plus 12.5 plus minus over the last 4 games. Podziemski going from 9.7 to 14 points per game, plus 16 plus minus. So everybody's playing at a more effective rate. The entire team is playing better.
Jimmy Butler effect, right? That was the thing that jump-started them. They were missing one piece, and they got it. And I don't think Steph Curry is going to have 56 points every night or hit 12 three-pointers every night, but he's going to be up around 30 points, I think, because that's what he's been averaging now, as you showed. 30.6 points. This last game helped him a lot since
they took 34 free throw attempts. This was the dead last ranked team in free throw attempts. They just put up 34 free throws.
Yeah, well, that's a Butler effect as well. He's great at drawing fouls. He didn't have much of a game in it. He only had 5 points.
But he also had 7 assists, and that's where you could really... And by the way, the Magic also had more points off turnovers than the Warriors did.
Yeah.
They out-rebounded them, nearly out-assisted them, had more steals, didn't have more block shots, but still. I really don't think... they've had a 40-point scorer in Franz Wagner who had 27 points. I don't think you could do much better. It's just Curry put up 56 points. You couldn't stop him. You saw it early. The Warriors were down by like 15 points consistently throughout this game. And then late, when Curry normally comes, from out of the woods there and his team needs him, he comes up big and puts him to sleep. So I think this was an insane performance. And that's why I said that I had confidence that this Warriors team could go up against some of the top teams. Like, for instance, I really don't think they fear Memphis at all. I don't think that this team is going to go up for Memphis and be like, you know what? There's a chance we lose.
Yeah. I'd
take the Warriors in 5. I think you go up against OKC. I'll be a little bit nervous because they have 2 very good big men in Chet Holmgren and also Isaiah Hartenstein. But you can go up against Houston. I think you beat Houston. I think you go up against Denver. There's a shot you beat Denver. Absolutely.
Denver lost to Milwaukee last night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think
Giannis had a very nice game last night.
Right now the Warriors are the 7th seed. I think they're a game or a half game out of the 6th spot. So for me, I think, let's see. They played Denver. They lost them by 4 points. They play them 2 more times. And by the way, that was only in the in-season tournament. So in the regular full season, they haven't played them yet. If we want an in-season tournament, it counts for the win-loss, but it's different stakes there.
Yeah.
And these are both at home, by the way. I should also point out.
They lost both those games?
They only played them once so far.
Oh, once.
And it was at Denver.
Yeah.
These next 2 games are at home, March 17th and April 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you could see how they'll do against Denver, at least in the regular season. So I don't think the Warriors fear really maybe the Lakers. They don't fear the Clippers. They don't fear the Timberwolves, the Mavericks, the Kings. They don't fear anybody within the play-in tournament. I think the only teams that they would probably fear are the Lakers and the Thunder. But that's it. That's really it. So I think the Warriors have a shot. If they keep playing, I don't think, like you said, I don't think Curry's going to put 56 points.
Yeah.
Maybe again the rest of the year. We'll play effective basketball, and then with Steve Kerr and Steph Curry playing playoff basketball, there's something that flips, because we have to remember Curry put up a 50-piece in Game 7 against the Kings with last year, the year before. So they turn on a switch here, and they turn into playoff mode. Plus, you have playoff Jimmy Butler. If he also flips the switch on, and with the team playing at this clip, I'm putting it out there. Why can't the Warriors?
Well, Draymond says they're going to win it all.
Hey, I don't fully doubt that. I don't fully doubt that.
We'll see.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the eye in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.